So yeah, smoke it if you got it. I'm waiting for it to light Glenn up here. There we go. Send him an invite. Send him a co-host invite. There we go. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about the obviously the terrorist attack in Buffalo. We're going to talk about a couple of the shootings that happened. We're going to talk about the IDF and the Israeli forces murdering journalists. Kind of compare them to the LAPD, and if we have time, we're going to talk about um, the Roe versus Wade shit. There, so I believe I've invited him.
I'm here.
As I take that. Oh, you're here. Hey, Glenn. I unmuted myself today so I could tell people what's going on with this awesome monologue.
Excellent progress.
Yeah, we're really moving on up on the professional ladder here. Shoot.
Okay, I can tell you right now that you must have a little latency in your bandwidth because it's kind of like you sound on Skype when you drop. You know how the voice fades and comes back and shit. That's what's going on right now on your end.
Yeah, it does that, and it seems to work itself out on the replay. So I apologize to whoever may be listening.
No, so
Um,
maybe it's my signal that's latent then.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
This
don't know either.
Twitter Spaces is
Who
a shit
cares?
show. Yeah, I finally got the last week's show up, so I'm gonna do them like that, I guess. Simple, easy. Just dump the audio into Pro Tools, then put it into Premiere with the picture that changes colors.
Well,
Yep.
I know from experience, slideshows are a pain in the ass to set up.
Yeah. Especially if you want them to hit it, when you're talking about it. So
Yeah,
it just,
that takes way too much precision and time and effort.
yeah, for someone like me, yeah. So yeah, just I'm putting up a bunch of police videos on YouTube right now because somebody asked me for a video and I was like, oh yeah, I have that video. I think I mentioned it online or something, but I didn't release it. So I sent them the video and I was like, holy crap, I got a file here full of videos I forgot I took. And a lot of them, because when I shoot the police, I'm usually, if I'm live streaming, I have other cameras going. I got like 2 to 4 cameras going beside my phone at all times. I don't trust them motherfuckers. So I had a bunch of camera footage from these live streams that Instagram had taken down, a lot of them because of bullying and target harassment against police. Go figure that one out.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't stream on Instagram anymore because of that bullshit, but I had all this camera footage of all these. I mean, I got so much footage of filming police, but I just happened to find a file with a bunch of them. So I'm dropping them. Some of them are in 360. I put up a 360 video and asked people if they could see it and scroll through it okay. If I don't get any problems, I'll probably just dump them in 360 so I don't have to worry about editing anything. But anyway, so yeah, just on my account and People's Radio, there will be a whole bunch of police videos coming up, stuff I haven't released because I'm lazy and I don't know, whatever. I mean, I do it. I don't do it to release them usually. I just do that to inspire people to go film the police. So when I'm filming them, it's pretty much just to keep whoever's there safe, and if they need something for court. And I talk too much shit sometimes for that, so I got to deal with that. Someone said, "How are they gonna use it in court if you cursing the police out? That's gonna make them look bad." I said, "I don't know them." They're like, "It doesn't matter." So yeah, I gotta work on that, but I hate them pigs. So anyway, we might as well get started with today's show. So yeah, as most people know, last Saturday, a fucking Nazi drove for a few hours to a grocery store in a black neighborhood in Buffalo, New York, parked his car, and immediately started shooting people. non-white people. Um, the punk ass wrote a manifesto that was mainly copied and pasted from other white supremacist terrorists with some bullshit added in, and you know the names, you know the buzzwords changed to fit his narrative. And he live streamed himself committing the terrorist act. I believe he shot 13 people, 10 of which are dead. Um, the motherfucker's gun had every kind of racial epithet across it. It had Nazi slogans. He just scribbled all over his gun. He went there planning to do that. I guess he researched black neighborhoods. He went to specifically to Buffalo, New York, because he figured the gun laws were more lax. He wouldn't catch too much resistance. I mean, he really planned this out. This was an act of terror. I know they're calling him a shooter, and some people are calling him mentally ill. And then you got the whole group of white nationalist assholes that are like, but Chicago, you know, I don't know any cats in Chicago that's just slaughtering people because of their race. It might be some op shit, some hood shit, but they're not like, I'm going to walk in a store and just start indiscriminately shooting random people. If a random person gets hit, I bet you 9 times out of 10, it was like not the talk, you know, they were shooting at something and bullets are flying everywhere. They can't aim. I'm not apologizing for what they do, but it's two totally different things. Walking in a store to murder innocent people, just going about their daily lives, doing what they do, is way different than some gangster shit. You know, you can't compare the two. I don't give a fuck. These people are racist, man. Every time they try to apologize for these people, they try to be like, oh, he's mentally ill. Or the famous one is like the young kid as opposed to the man. You know what I mean? He's 18 years old. He's a grown ass man. He knew what he was doing. But yeah, I mean, I feel so sorry for the families of these people and the people who are just going to get something from the store and that's it. It's over. That's tragic, man. I mean, think about it. They're thinking about what they were going to do with their day, whatever problems they had, whatever happy shit was going on, just boom, over in a second because some piece of shit, some racist piece of shit who hates them because of the color of their goddamn skin. That's sick, man. And that's terrorism. He did it for political reasons. These
Well,
other
I don't.
cats. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I don't really understand how much more needs to be demonstrated before more Americans will understand that the only difference between viewpoints, and that's using a kind word, the only difference between viewpoints being embraced by an ever growing amount of people in America is absolutely no different from things that are going on in other parts of the world that apparently America thinks is insane and evil and has no place in a quote unquote society. This is simply Taliban mentality in English, not Arabic. That's the only difference here. But, again, of course, America, we don't have issues. We're above everything. Well, I mean, that's that's the oldest play in the book. When you're ripping people off, for example, if somebody calls you on it, all you do is talk about 20 other thieves to take it away from what you're doing specifically. Now, the issues about this Buffalo thing, 100% targeted, 100% premeditated, 100%, what's the right word I'm looking for here? It is 100% offensive. This is meant to kill people. That's it. that is the intent. That is the plan. You can talk
I
again. You can talk again about people being allowed to live stream capital crimes. Who is going to say anything now about the platform that allows this? Probably
I mean,
nobody.
I think, I mean, it probably takes a few minutes it was pretty quick. Um, they did cut it like right after, not too long after he drew down on this white dude and then apologized to him. He's like, sorry, and then runs off to shoot more black people. I think the live stream was cut not too long after that. Um, but that's not the reason he live streamed it is the issue. The reason he left that bullshit manifesto is the issue. He did that to inspire others because he was inspired by motherfucking white supremacists that did the same thing. And you get all these people talking about, oh, it's the magazines, it's the specific what ARs or whatever guns they're tripping on today. It's the bulletproof vests, it's the body armor. No, it's the white supremacy. A lot of cats got guns, a lot of cats got body armor. Some cats work as security, some cats do other things. Some people just want to be safe, you know what I mean? That's not the issue. The majority of people ain't going out there and doing this. This is heinous, and that's not to say that people need to work on gun safety and being decent people. I mean, there's people shooting people for all kinds of stupid reasons all over this country, or by accident, misfires, whatever, which is ridiculous. If you have a misfire, you shouldn't have had a gun. But yeah, this was an act of terrorism, plain and simple. There's no other. They keep calling him a mass shooter on the news. I don't like that. This is an act of terrorism. When that cat, when that Muslim cat went up into the synagogue, held hostages, and then the FBI killed him, immediately the media was calling him a terrorist. Nobody but him died in that whole thing. I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm not saying it wasn't even an act of terror. I'm saying if he's a terrorist, why isn't this dude immediately a terrorist on all the mainstream media?
Well,
You
we know
can't say,
why.
oh, but I'm saying you can't say, oh, anything, and a white dude is the shooter if he does it, and it's the same thing. It's the same act. This wasn't even the same act. You know, I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck what
but
your color. I don't give a fuck what your religion. If you're gonna walk in and target a bunch of people you don't like for whatever reason and slaughter them unarmed, no way to defend themselves, unsuspecting, you're a terrorist. I can't even fathom the mentality of somebody that would do that. Like if you mad at somebody, go after the people you mad at. Like give them go after the government. Go after something else. Somebody who have guns. You notice all the talk about Chicago and how much they hate Chicago. This cat didn't go to Chicago, did he? He didn't go over to O Block or one of them places.
yeah,
Yeah,
because he knew what would happen.
you know what I'm saying. He didn't go to no neighborhood. He went to where there's innocent people living their lives. He knew, kids, old man. There was old ladies laying on the floor because there was gunshots outside, trying to lay low so they don't get hit. He walks in and shoots them on the floor. Man, it's so disgusting. It's so horrible. It's so how could any human do that? I mean, this isn't the first time either. I mean, we know it's happened time. Dylan Roof walked into a church and shot
Well,
shot 9 people just after he kicked it with them. Man, how do you do that? How are you that hateful and twisted about people you don't even know and never even met because of the color of their skin?
there's
It's not
nothing
even I.
mysterious. There's nothing mysterious about this. It's called
But
stochastic terrorism, and this is exactly what is used on the other side of the world with people that want to do nothing but create human killing machines. It's the same damn shit. The
but
problem is all this content that is insane and based on bullshit and meant to stoke people's perceived fear,
Glenn, but
because the world is daring to change. Oh my God.
yeah, I
Time
don't think
waits for no fucking moron. But
yeah, I don't think
yet
you have to go anywhere.
there is an entire industry that is built and profiting and growing on basic human emotion to kill based on illogical fear. And the US is a outstanding market for this type of thing. The
That's
problem
what I was.
is there's absolutely no incentive from so-called leadership to stop this. That's all there is to it. This is something that is cultivated. It is coddled. It is developed because there are certain forces that don't want to give up their position of authority, that don't want to give up changing the way things are done. Now, the thing about this copy pasta, this is just the perfect indication of how fucking stupid these followers are. I had a little discussion with somebody about this specifically, and in my opinion, that generation that this little fucking terrorist is from, this is this is the Pepe generation. These are LARPers, large. These are groypers. They think they have the attitude that they actually think it's funny that somebody else could put in all the work and write whatever it is, and then they just plagiarize it. They just steal it. And they think they're smarter because they just stole it and didn't have to do all the work. Now, when this is the basis for what you think is intelligent behavior, you're not going to get very far with these people. You know, I mean, they're brought up and they're conditioned that they're entitled. Why? Well, who cares? The only thing they care about is that, yes, I'm entitled. The reasons are unimportant. Just give me the result. Give me the result that I'm better than whoever because I want to be. Now, the other thing about this is this little fucker lived at home. His parents knew about all the weapons he bought. Why are they not in jail right now? That's what I want to know.
Because he's 18.
Everything we hear about the right is about responsibility. And they
Yeah,
always
but
bitch about the family unit and how critical it is. Well, I guess his family unit are fucking idiots and don't give a shit about anything. So they should be in jail too. And until something like that happens, maybe this is just going to keep going. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. First of all, you don't have to go to the other side of the world. There's nothing. This place in the United States has been like this since day one, slaughtering groups of people that others don't like or that white males don't like generally. Um, and two, he was 18, which makes him an adult. So he whatever he do, he's on his own. You know, unless his parents were accomplices, like you know what I mean. Unless they were
Well,
helping
how are
him
they
plot
not?
or they're hiding evidence or something. Well, how do they know what he was gonna do? You know, do you think he just was like drinking orange juice in the morning, be like, I'm gonna go slaughter these people now? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the situation with that, but I'm like, if they're just dummies and aren't paying attention and don't know, like he's 18, he's doing whatever. That's different than somebody actively hiding evidence or like the thing in the shooting with that little kid that shot up the school and his parents had got him the gun. He was underage and his parents were negligent all the way around on that. I'm not saying these people weren't negligent, but when you're 18, there's a difference. You're kind of like responsible for your own actions. That's all I'm saying. Legally, not, you know,
Okay,
that's just the
so
way it works here.
look at the Manson murders. Charles Manson never actually killed anybody, but yet he's in jail. So what's the difference?
Well, that would be people like the media, like Tucker Carlson and a lot of these people going out there pushing these theories that he believes in. Those, you know, like Andy No, people like that.
I
I don't
don't
know
think
if his
so.
parents. I don't know if his parents were pushing those things onto him or not.
Well, they're certainly not obviously discouraging them.
Yeah, that's another thing. You got to think
I
it has
mean,
to
no,
come up. It has
I
to
don't
come up.
agree. No, I don't agree that people with social media platforms have the same role as somebody like Charles Manson, because Charles Manson wasn't being shown on TV every night encouraging people to do what he was doing. He did it one on
Well,
one, out of the spotlight. And that's exactly what's going on here. There's no way that somebody grows up in a house and figures this is the course of action to take when they become a legal adult without this shit being drilled into them as they grow up. There's no way that this is an accident or a unintended consequence or just bad luck. I mean, that's just not going to happen. There has to
I
be
don't know,
exposure, there has to be incubation, there has to be a path. And again,
yeah,
that's where I bring up stochastic terrorism, because a
yeah,
definition of that is people in positions of authority or having a position of a platform keep pushing in this direction, keep using fear to make people act out their base instincts. This whole white replacement theory, there's a simpler name for it. It's called time marches on. That's what it is. Nothing else. Whitey don't like it. That's it.
but they pumping it down these dudes' throats to fear it. Like, oh, there's gonna be no people left. What are we gonna do? Like, I mean, the thing about his parents is kind of insignificant at this point. Like to argue over whatever the legal things they would go through would be. But I'm just saying, I know some wild ass gangster motherfuckers who grew up in a house with the church lady. You know what I mean? It's, weird things happen, and you can always blame the parents. Might not know what's going on, especially when he's 18 years old. Is he even around there a lot? You know, I don't know. But anyway, that's regardless. He's a Nazi. He's a terrorist. Um, it's a fucking tragedy that these people had to die because of this dude being indoctrinated and following through on his hatred. I mean, it's an unjustifiable hatred. You can't just hate a whole group of people over a certain color or a certain way. But that's what it is here, man. That's how it is. We got one party cheering it on replacement theory, and the other party the same kind of people overseas. I mean, what are these people supposed to do here? It's just all white supremacy. That's the problem. That's the issue, and you stop it with Nazi. Because in my mind, it's gone hard. Years and years and decades ago, through you know, like as long as people been alive, um, going at it with them, like we're not gonna let them in our neighborhoods. If we got to show up at their house with guns and run them out, if we got to show up at their jobs with guns and run them out, you know, we got to catch these Nazis in the streets and do whatever we have to do. They're not going to be in our neighborhood and tolerate their bullshit. But the people in the sort of Nazi, no, I don't like it. You know what I mean? No, it shouldn't be tolerated. The racism shouldn't be tolerated. The stupid fucking racist joke shouldn't be tolerated. None of that shit should have been tolerated, but people tolerated it. People have to stop tolerating it. They have to say it on sight. When I see a Nazi, I'm going to fuck off. When somebody say some racist shit, I'm gonna crack them in the jaw. You know what I mean? I see a Nazi threatening some people, a racist threatening some people. We're gonna step in. However we gotta handle it. We're gonna shut them down. If a Nazi moves anywhere near my block or my neighborhood, I'm moving into. They're not moving into like black neighborhoods. These are people have to look out for this. These monitor your own. It's just like it can't be tolerated. It ends up like this. You know, all the bullshit is how on video. I report them cats constantly. It ruins my game because I gotta
All
find the
right.
names, who's
Well,
talking, and report them. Every little thing, man. You gotta shut it down anyway, every way you can. You can't tolerate any of it. That's the only way to stop
all
it.
right. All
All
right.
right.
About
Well,
the last 3 minutes have been nothing but auto tune. So I have basically understood every third or fourth word you've said. But what you're promoting is people who actually think, and that's not the environment. What you're talking about is people being reasonable and having a basis of information about the actual problems. Well, that's not what's happening in the United States at all. And there's no effort for that to be the case because
that's my
conflict
point. We got
is revenue.
Yeah, I don't care about revenue. I'm saying the people got to do this. I'm not saying the government or the media. It's got to come from the people. We got to educate each other. The white people in the white neighborhoods got to be like, nah, we ain't gonna tolerate this. The white Christian churches can't be out there protesting side by side with Nazis and Klansmen and be like, we're not about that shit. They're not the true Christian. But you're right there next to them. You feel me? That's. Can you hear me?
But you're still asking people to have independent thought, and they are not capable of it. That's
Well,
the problem.
they need to get capable. They need to get capable because this is just going to keep getting worse. This is going to keep getting worse. I'm furious with this, man. I've been furious with this. I tweeted today, man, but my homie was murdered by the Nazis. My homie Ray. I talked about it before. They sent this woman up to his door saying she was all beaten up, like her boyfriend beat her up, and she goes inside and says she need to use the phone. He's like, yeah, come on in, call the police. Ray wasn't into nothing. Ray was just a civilian, you know what I mean? Just a cool dude, a cool black dude. So this white woman goes up in there, rips his phones off out the wall. This is before cell phones and stuff. So it was a home phone, rips it out the wall. Her boyfriend and all these cats that live on the block, they didn't want him living on their block, came in, beat him with baseball bats, took him outside, ran him over the car a few times, took him back in the house and lit the house on fire. This is in Apple Valley, California, man. And after that happened, it was on with them Nazis. They was getting knocked out in train stations. They was getting dealt with in the streets. Lots of problems with between the people from different neighborhoods that was cool with different members of Ray's family. You know what I mean? He had 7 brothers and a sister, so some of them was from the hoods. But the whole thing is, it was on site, man, and it was personal, and that was the problem. People don't care if it's not personal. And then through time, people forgot, and it's not the same anymore. Now they back to doing what they're doing. Everybody's not focused on drilling Nazis all the time, shutting them down, going to their houses, doing stuff like that, following them around in the streets. They should not feel safe anywhere, man. And I'm telling you, you put up with a racist joke, you're just as guilty of all this stuff. You helping build the system that causes this, that ends like this. You got to have a zero tolerance level for this shit. The silliest racist joke, smack a motherfucker. That's how it's got to be. Flip some shit like Jesus. I don't know. Do something. But don't just sit back and tolerate it. because that normalizes it. It has to be shut down by any means necessary for real. Can you hear me? Or am I just?
No, I hear
Oh
you. I'm
man.
trying
Oh, there
to
you are.
catch as I'm trying to catch as many words as I can. But I mean, what you're talking about is, by and large, not the American target audience. I mean, the reality is there are tens of millions of Americans that think they know what's going on, that think they're reasonable, and they have reason to feel like they are being attacked. And why? Because they're fucking mentally lazy. And they are into being part of an identifiable group where they just find other idiots who believe the same garbage they believe. And there's absolutely no top down system that will steer people towards reality. And at the end of the day, it's because of the way America is constructed now. America cannot exist on any level without conflict. It doesn't matter what you're talking about, whether you're talking about spending money on public education, healthcare, anything. The only way to get a majority of Americans to take a position and support whatever side is trying to recruit them is through fear, is through violence, is through putting thoughts in people's heads of something they feel they don't deserve happening to them. I mean, I understand what you're saying about how things should be, but your entire society has been constructed to not do that. So, I mean, you can talk about people taking action locally to quote unquote police their own little corner of the world, but there's just not enough people that give a fuck. There's just not enough people that see down the road as
That
if
was
this
my
point in the
point.
road is not bad enough. There's just not
That,
enough people that have the ability, never mind the guts, to look down the road. And that's what they've been encouraged to do, and just remain calm. These people that we have made some sort of authority will tell you what's what. That's the root of all of this. People are comfortable in being basically illiterate in their own world.
I don't know, man. People, it's just like you can't just let it keep. It's like a cycle. It's been
Well,
happening
definitely.
for forever, man. It's just it's so easy to shut it down. Everybody just not gonna tolerate it. Those who tolerate it are with it. So we're not gonna tolerate you. You know, when one of these cats say something, these racist assholes, say some racial slur at a store worker, yeah, so you can identify him, but everyone in the whole store should be like, boom, toss them out physically. And then you can never come back. Will be at risk if you ever come back in the store again. And then the world gets smaller and smaller. You can't live in this neighborhood. We're gonna be out here. We'll use violence if we have to. The world gets smaller. You see what I'm saying? That's how it has to happen. In the 7-Eleven, and these white dudes make a stupid racist joke about the death, and you threaten to knock their jaw out, and then they pay attention. You don't have to really do it maybe because you're on camera, but you're gonna threaten them. And let's go outside. They don't want none of that though. They just want to make a silly racist joke. That's how you have to be all the time. Never ever tolerate that shit. I mean, and it doesn't take everybody. You shame the other people, man. It can be done. It's just like you said, man, with it. It's not like, people nowadays want to do what the celebrities do or whatever. Nobody's like, nah, we're just going to stop racism. It's like, the celebrities don't care. They don't care. And it's also, like I said just a few minutes ago with Ray, it wasn't, nobody cared about Nazis until they killed Ray. And all of a sudden, everybody want to care about Nazis. I'm included in that group. This was a long time ago. That's probably why I started hating them. And by houselessness, people don't care about houseless neighbors until it affects them. Now they're in the streets and now some do something. Why haven't you done something? Same thing here. People have to do this before it's my family member in that store getting hit. And then the white people be like, well, they ain't in for white people. Well, you know what? The next one might just start shooting through walls. What if a bullet hit by accident? What if he'd squeezed the trigger on that white dude before paying attention and apologizing to him? That could be you or your family too. You can't just sit and say, "Oh, it doesn't affect me." If humans are suffering, it should affect you. It shouldn't matter what humans are suffering or why they're suffering. You should hurt and suffer until you can help try to end their suffering. You should be doing whatever you can do to stop people from having to suffer because that's your species.
Okay, well, I am getting pretty frustrated with not being able to basically hear more than every third word. I'm not sure if it's got to do with the app on my device or what, but
You're choppy too, but this happened before, and when I listened back, everything seemed to be fine. The problem
well,
is it's hard to hear you every once in a while, and you're saying, "Right."
well, of course, Twitter gets the copy that works for
I
them.
guess that is correct.
Fuck the
Um,
users. But I mean,
Glenn, are you still there?
oh, now you can't hear me at all? Fucking Twitter.
There you are. Now I hear you. But see, here's the thing. I could see you talking. I could see it
Yeah, I know.
texting out the words. That's weird.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
picking
it's
you
not.
up. I just can't hear you.
No, it's not weird. It's fucking Twitter.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Because you're a little clearer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, anyway, it's just this could be stopped, man. White supremacy could be crushed. It's just do the people want to crush it?
White
You
supremacy will never be stopped as long as white supremacy has power.
well, you got to take the power.
Yeah, well, I don't see any interest in that happening in the United States. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, of course, it was founded on that. It was built on that white
And it
supremacy from day one.
and nothing's changed.
No, nothing's changed but the aesthetics.
And the method of delivery.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I don't know, but it has to stop, man. Like I know it's not gonna stop, but we have to do something. There's a lot of people that don't like this. Sometimes just having a few million people really go hard is all you need. I don't know, but everybody have to go hard. It's like I think we should bring back pig patrols because here's the thing: these pigs are with it, man. These pigs are white supremacists too. These cats are gonna. Some of these cats are going to go to prison and have a pretty decent life. They're gonna have the pigs doing things, bringing stuff in for them. The COs. They're gonna be with the white supremacists, the Aryan Brotherhood or whatever, taken care of. looked at like a little mini hero, maybe. I don't know. It just seems like some of these people aren't going to suffer like people think they are.
Well, see, that's a good example right there. What the American prison system has become with, in most places, AB being on top of the power structure, that's not an accident. It's not because they're the majority of the population. It's because they've been enabled to take that position and keep it. And that is a reflection of what's going on in American society as a whole. And the problem is, just like in prison, you can't do anything effectively about AB if they are after you because it's allowed. Now, there's some definite parallels there between the prison system and American society. You're right, this shit doesn't have to go on. It can be stopped. But my point is, nobody with the ability to do it wants to. So, you know, I don't know what to tell people. This is where the car has taken the American public. And as long as the American public, by and large, just sits in the back seat and looks out the window, there's nothing going to change. And it's going to get worse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always getting worse. It's always getting worse, man. That you can depend on. It's always getting worse.
That is a really, really good metaphor because, again, just like in prison, if somebody who's in the protected group does something, basically nobody fucking cares. And a lot of the rest of the population knows that if they report it, it's just going to bring heat on them. But that's a prison. That's quote unquote law of the jungle. Well, that law is still created and enforced by the gatekeepers. And the same thing with corporate media is being done on the entire society now. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you. It does seem like this is where society is, and it's not an accident. But that being said, if I was in America and I was on the wrong side of the fence on this issue, I really don't know what the fuck I could do about it except to circle the wagons, to use another, metaphor. And that's what the system is fine with people doing that because we know the more you can divide, the more you can fragment, the more you can make the so-called army of one, the better it is for those who do have actual cohesion. So it's only going to get worse. I think we agree with that. But
Yeah.
does there have to be some rebalance, some payback, some
I
here,
mean, I don't.
motherfucker, how do you like this?
I mean, here's the thing. I don't know. I just think maybe tit for tat at least. Somebody want to do this. Somebody want to walk into a church and shoot 9 people. Somebody want to run through a crowd of people. You know, somebody want to go and shoot protesters. Then you say, fine, whatever the law do. But we, like them drill artists, they take it back in blood. You say, oh, you know what? They owe us 10 now. There's a Nazi concert going on over here. Let's go get our 10 back. Maybe we'll get more. Maybe it just has to be tick for tack like that till they learn. Like every time I do this, some white Nazis are gonna get shot the hell up. Whatever I do is gonna come back tenfold on these other Nazis over there. So I'm kind of hurting the white race the more shit I do. And the other plus on that is Nazis ain't gonna be wanting to go to concerts and do stuff anymore because they're gonna be in terror getting it just it's sometimes maybe it has to work like that. Maybe it's just got to go tit for tat. I don't know,
Well, I
but I'm
mean, from a
fed up with the BS. I'm fed up with the racists, man. I'm fed up with the fascists. I've been doing this a lot longer than these people that jumped in during the Trump thing. I've seen a lot of terrible things, and
uh,
these parties ain't gonna do nothing for it. The police are always on their side. It's up to us.
well, I mean, it's not just a matter of the ideology being at home in police departments. If you go above that, of course the police support it because it does nothing but demonstrate why they have to be here, why they have to have a budget increase, why they need more cops. It works for them. This is the problem. This is the basic problem. It's just like creating a business that solves a problem that you created. That's nothing but market manipulation. And it's a small way to put it together. But really, that's exactly what's happening. People keep bitching and like I just don't understand. Well, again, we've talked about this before. The big lie is that America is such a vibrant democracy and we have vigorous debate. But again, what you're allowed to debate is shit that they make sure will never be solved. And you hear this talk about the mass shooters and the premeditated mass murder and the terrorism that it is. But nobody talks about how this type of shit is made to be normal behavior. Because face it, in the United States, mass shootings are normal. They're a part of everyday life. And as I've said on your show in the past, that's the number one reason I will not any longer enter the United States. Because just like Buffalo, it proves that it can be anywhere, anytime, and your number's up. And the reason I won't go to the US is because I see it as part of your society. That's part of being in America. And for the most part, in Canada, that's not a part of being in Canada.
Glenn, you're so stuck up you won't even come to third world countries to visit.
And again, that's another thing. This whole bullshit story about how America leads the world. Take a look in the fucking mirror. You
Yeah.
people are the most overarmed, overconfident, underinformed societies in the history of mankind. So, what do you think is going to happen when the dumb guy has all the biggest tools? This is exactly what you get.
Yeah. It has to end. That's all I can just keep saying that. It just has to end. I'm fed up with it, man. I've been fed up with it. It's just like you said, nobody cares. The majority
It
doesn't
seems
care.
like it.
Some
Yeah,
people care. The majority doesn't care.
yeah, it seems like it. And they're
But
encouraged not to care. That's the thing. I mean, years ago, there may have been a small chance that the media actually could have done something and keep, I mean, like Kardashian rents the Marilyn Monroe dress, and that shit gets mentioned for weeks. It means nothing. It has nothing to do with anything of importance.
that's what the people care about.
They've been conditioned to care about it. That's all.
Yeah, it's like that little Will Smith slap. They didn't stop talking about that. They're still talking about that.
Yeah,
It's
like
just who cares? But no, the
But
I was just gonna say we've been spent like 50 minutes on this. Um, Probably because it's outrageous. Um, it's terrible and it has to be stopped. And only, like we just said, only we can stop it. But there were like a bunch of other shootings, weird shootings, like around the same time. Um, some cats got into it in Texas and shot up a swap meet, but only the people that were involved in the shootout got hit. So that was just a shootout. It wasn't something like this. There was another one or two possibly like this, but not with the casualty rate. Then something happened in downtown LA. I saw it and I knew they were having protests that day at Grand Central Market. For people who don't know, it's just a place. You've probably seen the video. It's got food courts and stuff all through it, and they have some good ass food up in there. And a lot of times after protests, people go there. So I thought maybe it was protest related, but it appears to me, just from the video, just from my opinion, what I saw, some dude pulled a knife on somebody for whatever reason, might have stabbed him. I think someone said someone got stabbed. So maybe he's trying to rob him or something. I don't know, but something happened with the knife and he probably pulled it on the wrong fool who had a gun and let him know, nah, I ain't gonna get stabbed today, or if I did get stabbed, I'm plugging you. So I think that was some other incident that happened between a couple people. So that one was out. But then I heard in Buffalo there was a church and somebody went in the lobby and was stopped in the lobby with the gun. I don't know just I can't find a lot of details on that. But then here in California, in Orange County, Laguna, what is it, Laguna Hills or something? Um, this it's Orange County. I just don't know the name of the little. It's like a little retirement community. I think I've never heard of it before. There was a Taiwanese church out there, and somebody went up inside there and tried to shoot up people. The gun jammed and they beat him with a chair and kind of held him down and disarmed him. But I don't know how many, one or two people were killed and a couple of people shot. So like, luckily his gun jammed and the people knew to jump in there and get him when he was defenseless. Um, but that could have turned out bad. I heard the shooter's an Asian cat, but I haven't heard it had an issue with the government of Taiwan or something. Did you hear anything about that? Because that's all I heard. Is hard to get info. Like, a lot
uh,
of these cats aren't leaving manifestos and live streams.
well, the issue that I have about that incident is notice how this shooter did not, quote unquote, accomplish his plan. So basically, the right thing happened there with that situation. You have a shooter enter a premises with the intent of killing people in that premises. His weapon malfunctions, they take care of it. I mean, that is the best case.
But that's
But,
luck, you know.
but what I'm saying is the reason it's not being publicized or scrutinized or full information isn't coming out is because he did not kill a lot of people. This is the other problem in the US. If you become a mass murderer, you become famous. If you attempt to do it and are defused or killed, you failed. You're not important. And this, in a bizarre way, shows that the religion in the US is actually the media. That's where you have to rise above to be somebody. They always want to talk about in places on the other side of the world where people are recruited to kill others or to kill others by killing themselves. And if they do that successfully, then they are going to be welcomed into the afterlife. How is it so different with that end result compared to what happens in America? Just change the God. The God is popularity. The God is infamy. And there are far too many people that see this as being a success. That's something
Sometimes the
I
God is
don't know
like
how you beat
Jesus.
this. Well, yeah, I know, but I don't know how you get around this. That people who want to act out and take innocent lives, they have to, quote unquote, be successful at doing that, or they are a failure at being a mass killer. This is, I don't know how you get around this, because that's the bottom line. People like Dylan Roof is just some backward basement dwelling zipperhead. But now he's famous forever. Rittenhouse, perfect example. How the fuck is that punk got a name? Being offered money to do anything because he was, quote unquote, successful in what he did. I don't know how you get around this definition of what is a success. When this is just like in Israel, the same fucking shit with the illegal settlers. When they kill innocent Palestinians, when they rob innocent Palestinians, when they destroy their homes, they are considered successful. That's got to change.
Yeah, we need to move on and talk about that. Anything else on this?
No, it's just a fucking shit show, and hang on, America. It's not going to get any better.
Yeah.
You know. Now,
Speaking, wait a minute. How do I?
I mean, if you want to talk about the latest assassination
Yeah.
in Israel, uh, I mean, Shireen Abu Akleh only broadcasted in Arabic for Al Jazeera. But again, this is somebody who was born in occupied Jerusalem. She's Her life was
Oh,
all about what's going on. And for somebody to be so plainly identified as press and to be assassinated by a sniper is just business as usual. I mean, yeah, we're going to get the people rubbing hands and gnashing teeth, but absolutely nothing is going to be done to try and prevent this from happening again. As people have said, Shireen was very, very prominent and famous, and this is going to attract a lot of attention, as well it should, but she's by no means the first or the last member of the press to be assassinated by the Israeli government because they're doing their job. I was talking to somebody basically immediately after this happened, and the Israeli headline news apparatus, it's almost like they had it in the can. They had another video and said, oh, look, here's a Palestinian. He's shooting blindly down an alley. He did it. And I said to the person I was talking to, you just wait. B'Tselem is going to rip this shit apart. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, when I went to RightsCon in Toronto in 2018, I attended a couple sessions with people from B'Tselem who had come to Toronto from Israel to explain what it's like to all be Jewish Israelis and working against the systemic oppression and execution of Palestinians in Israel. And it was just unbelievable that these people stand against the Israeli government every day. And their whole mission is to support nothing but human rights for all humans. So, I mean, if it was any other place, like say if this was something that happened in Baghdad and there was a group of Iraqis who had a human rights organization, and if they had information that fast and that complete that what corporate media was saying was absolute bullshit, we would be hearing about it for a very long time. But because it's Israel, because it's the Zionist authority, it's just like mass shootings in the US. It's like, oh yeah, the Israeli media lied. Yeah, so yeah, they actually did execute her. Yeah, okay. Now sports. I mean, I don't know what you do about this because things of equal gravity do not get the same attention, and that's completely by design. So, is anything going to change over there about the execution of Shireen Abu Akleh? Probably not. But,
Same situation. No, nothing's going to change.
and yet, that's a decision. That's a conscious decision that nothing's going to change. And it's because, again, people don't fucking care.
Dude, the US president said, don't worry, nothing's going to fundamentally change.
And of course, we must have our token serious independent investigation. Well, no. I mean, you want your serious coordinated cover operation. How do we explain ourselves out of this one? It's ridiculous. But again, it's who is killing who. That's the only thing that seems to matter.
I'm going to be honest with you. I would have rather spent the 40 million in our, or 40 billion, sorry, that's a hard number. The $40 billion in our tax money they all just voted to send to Ukraine. I'd have rather seen that go to Palestine. Along with, because they've suffered longer than Ukraine. We can catch Ukraine in another 70 years when they've suffered, quote unquote, as much as Palestine.
Well,
It's
again, it's just all politics and trying to buy votes. I mean,
it's
yes,
always backing the white people unless it's
exactly.
two white people fighting and you back the ones that you don't that you like less. I mean, you don't hate, you hate less than the other one.
Exactly. It's like a checklist. Okay, we have a conflict. Um, which people are white? Okay, so we're more likely to cheer for them. Oh, wait a minute. We have two white groups? Which ones are Christians? Okay, yeah, we'll go
There
with
you
them.
go.
Oh, they're both Christians? Damn it. Okay, which ones are Catholic? Okay, there's your winner. There's your winner.
Which
You
one
know?
have a celebrity comedian as president that we can use for photo ops and publicity and PR? Oh my god. Yeah, but like when this first happened, um, I was talking to you on DM on Twitter, and you were you were comparing it to Serena Shim and said, you hope it doesn't go the way the Serena Shim um, investigation went, and we both agreed we knew it would. But
Well, what pissed me
I,
off about that was the absolute hypocrisy and memory loss of corporate media and the American government. Because right from the very, very start, when Serena Shim was murdered by Turkish intelligence, right from the very start, it was mentioned that she was a Lebanese American. Right from the very start, it was made clear that she was an American citizen. And then the US government basically answered with the always fitting
No,
no comment.
yeah, no comment.
And the State Department was asked point blank, this is an American citizen that was killed under very mysterious circumstances, that was being sought after by Turkish intelligence. What are you going to do about it? Well,
Yeah,
basically, fuck all. We don't care. But yet, all this talk about we protect Americans around the world suddenly didn't apply to Serena Shim, because what she uncovered was an inconvenient truth. So that didn't matter. But now, it was hours after Shireen Abu Akleh was executed that suddenly it was, oh, you know, she's a Palestinian American. Oh my God, they killed an American. And suddenly here's Blinken and here's all these stuffed shirts talking about how this was unacceptable because number one, she's press. Yeah, like, you know, the press is so well protected these days. And she's an
dude,
American. Well,
she had
where the fuck was this concern for Serena Shim?
she had
Nowhere.
a she had a giant oversized press vest on. Oh, yeah, that's true. But for anybody who's listening who doesn't know who Serena Shim was, please look it up. Serena Shim. Just go to the People's Radio United YouTube and search Serena Shim. We got tons of videos. Or just search for Serena Shim. You'll read her, read the Wikipedia, whatever. I've done a lot of shows about Serena Shim. So have you, Glenn.
You know, this
Um,
is, you know, it just shows that whatever the narrative they want to present, that's what facts matter and when they matter. You know, this whole dog and pony show about, well, you know, Abu Akleh was an American too. So, you know, we want some answers here. Bullshit. Quit using it. You know, this is a problem too. Everybody wrapping themselves in the fucking flag when it suits their narrative. And it means nothing because there's no consequences of it. So for the Biden administration to claim that they protect Americans, I mean, it's quite easy to say it now because she's dead. You can't protect her, and you never did. So you can make a stink about how it's such an affront for this to happen. But that's only because it works for the American government in a public relations sense. What Serena
yeah,
Shim did the absolute opposite. It exposed the American government. So, you know, there just is no fair player in this game. That's the broad bottom line, and it's brutal. And you know, the one thing you can take from it, the fucking Israelis never know when to quit. Look what they did during the funeral procession. And
that's what
this
I was getting to.
and
Yeah,
this is drawn criticism from very high levels in Israel from people who usually do not speak out against this kind of thing. But it just shows you how entrenched and empowered and sure that the Israeli fascists are, that they would dare to do this so publicly, so blatantly in front of the eyes of the world, and they know nothing's going to happen. So the only thing that's going to happen is this may, you know, be part of the road to the third intifada. So, you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, you know, I
but
imagine they're going to do all this bullshit investigating and it's going to end up that some conscript fucking idiot stick is going to get transferred to the Golan Heights. That's about all that's going to happen, which is ridiculous.
yeah, so okay, back to that DM we were having. So when she was murdered, you compared it to Serena Shim. Then we saw the them tipping the coffin the next day, trying to tip the coffin and attacking all the mourners the next day. Um, And what did I say when I seen the video, Glenn? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
I said they move like LAPD.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. We have had this conversation before too. They have common training, so that's
Yeah,
one thing. But
dude,
yeah,
that's like I saw everything they do. The little movements, a little, yeah, it's very similar.
yeah, the same
Uh,
tactical training. Absolutely.
yeah, I said they train like I said they move like LAPD, and I know why. That was what I said.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a scary thing. Our police are training with military forces, oppressive fascist military forces, and then we're expecting them not to be a fascist military force in our streets.
Exactly. I mean, we've talked about this before too. This is the legacy of the so-called counterinsurgency in Iraq. This is the results of the surge that happened in Iraq. And like we've said before, what percentage of urban American police forces are now veterans of the infantry in Iraq? So, I mean, this is just a new uniform, same game.
A lot.
This is a major, major issue. But again, they've created these killers, they've created these empty shells of people that have no morals and no empathy. And the only way you can create and maintain people like that is to continue filling them with fascist dogma and reality and race war and religion war and everything else. The bottom line is conflict. And, I mean, we can even go back to this $40 billion for Ukraine. Well, how much of that 40 billion is going to go directly back to either Boeing or General Dynamics or Lockheed
For
Martin?
sure.
You
Yeah.
know, that's all it is. It's a subsidy to the military industrial complex that's going to travel through Ukraine. That's it.
I mean,
So,
where are they going to buy missiles from? China?
well, they wouldn't be getting the money.
No, that's my point.
Yeah,
They,
it's
they
not like
it's
here's
it, it,
it,
it's like
it
they know they got to come back, and then they're going to tax them. It's
well,
all a scam. It's always been a scam, man.
well, this is just like on a different level. This is no different than people deciding to get some publicity out of donating to a cause. And instead of just handing over cash and saying, go get what you need, they're going to give gift cards, which is already determined where that money goes. If they don't have what you need there, well, that's just too goddamn bad because that's where we've chosen that the money goes. That's exactly what this shit is.
I always see something funny online whenever they have the weapon buyback programs with the local pigs. Somebody always says, get a clump of wood and a pipe, drill a hole with the nail for for a pin, make it like a homemade shotgun, and take it in and get you a food coupon or the grocery store coupon or whatever. But yeah, that's funny. I doubt it will work, but it's a meme somebody always puts up.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, a smart person would be like, I can make more money with this gun than $100 gift card here.
that's
But
right.
so I don't know. I mean, you can sell the gun in a lot of cases and get more money. They probably get a bunch of broken down, you know what I mean? Raggedy.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is this 40 billion whatever to Ukraine. It's theatrics. It's not going to solve a damn thing. It's going to make some people rich, probably our buddies who we think should have a little more in this time of need. But I mean, nothing is done for the right reasons or with enough determination that it actually has a positive result. It's just more stunts. It's more theatrics. It's more, how can we use this to our benefit? Never mind what's going on over there. I mean, it's just like people saying, why are all these Western leaders suddenly showing up to get their photo op with Zelensky? What the hell is this about? It
I'm
is
waiting.
a war zone. But the
I'm
bottom
waiting.
line, no, people need to understand what's going on here. The
I'm
bottom
just saying.
line,
I'm waiting for Bernie and the squad to get down there. That's all I was going to say. Go ahead.
the bottom line is in the bigger picture, this just proves that Ukraine is on their own. They will not be seeing a single soldier from any NATO country in Ukraine. The only way that the West can continue to convince Ukraine that they support them is by sending our cardboard cutout leaders to smile and wave and then turn around and get the fuck out of Dodge. It's all a program because there was a time not that long ago when Ukrainians said, hey, wait a minute. We saw what happened to Greece. We're not into that. We don't want to give away control of our entire country over money and where we get it from and how we pay it back. It's less than a decade ago when Ukraine said, we're not down with that. But this is exactly what they're being coerced into now in the long run. Of course, yeah, the war is a more urgent priority, but nobody's giving these weapons away. All these weapons come with invoices. And what the US Congress has done with the 40 billion is provide a source to pay these invoices because it's all coming back home anyway. But that's all it is. It's just a big program now to keep going. You know, they keep every few days you hear about, well, yeah, you know, we'd like to negotiate, but nothing's happening. So don't tell me about how terrible this unasked for conflict is. If it was so terrible, there'd be a lot more shit being done to end it. And it's just simply not. It's a big production. The longer it goes on, the more ridiculous it's going to get. And of course, who pays? Innocent people on the ground on the other side of the world. But as long as I got to make my 5-minute speech and it was carried on Fox, it's a win. You know, this is the issue. I mean, it just seems that no matter what goes on anywhere anymore, if somebody can't make a dollar off it, and if somebody can't enrich themselves either culturally or with power, it just doesn't matter. So, you know, Shireen Abu Akleh gets assassinated basically live on TV. Is anything going to change? No. Ukraine is getting bombed, invaded. There's going to be unending discussion about who is who within Ukraine itself. Is anything going to change? No, not really. You know, I mean, at the start of the conflict in Ukraine, okay, yeah, I shouldn't use that word. In the
Dude,
start of the war in Ukraine, such a big deal was made about how many Ukrainians are fleeing to Poland. But it didn't take long before more Ukrainians were leaving Poland and going back than entering Poland. So, I mean,
did
none of this is as smooth as they'd like to pretend to the West, who couldn't be bothered to have any real background. But I mean, myself, in my heritage, I have both Polish and Ukrainian blood. And they're not pals. They haven't been pals for centuries, and that ain't going to change. So nothing is as it seems, unfortunately. But, you know, this is the picture that's being crafted for people.
did you see? this online magazine outlet did a puff piece on the wives of the Azov battalion.
No, I did not.
They had these pictures of these wonderful looking white ladies with a little bit of blur, looking I mean, not looking worried about if their husbands were going to come back alive. And then a lot of people online were like, this woman they have on the main picture looks a little familiar. So they went to these pictures and found a bunch of Ukrainian Nazis throwing up the Hail Hitler salute. And guess who one of them was? Who was one of the ones on the in the article talking about how it's hard for them and they're thinking about where they have to go, and it's this whole little. It reminded me of when they did the one about the KKK after Op KKK when a lot of them Klan members got outed, and they were like they're even showing pictures of their children online. And they did a whole puff piece on one of the mainstream media news outlets about how these white people were attacked just because of their racist beliefs. Yeah, and they had the pictures that got leaked that had their kids in them was a Klan rally, a lot of Klan members to identify, and they had their
Yep.
kids dressed up in Klan. You remember that Klan
Yep.
outfits?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like people just was like, oh, here's a baby picture of their baby or something. No, these are things they posted all in Klan outfits at Klan rallies with their kids dressed up like that.
Yep.
Nothing was focused in on their kids. Man, it reminded me of that. They always got a puff piece for the racist. For
Yeah.
the it's
But the bottom line is, it's not necessarily because the outlet is in line. Like it's not like every outlet that does this is the Daily Stormer, because they're not. They do it because it makes them revenue. So I mean, that's another perversion that have no idea what the solution to is. That is the issue now in
see. Wait,
Canada,
okay.
everywhere in the Western world. Media will run absolute garbage because it makes them money.
But do you see what I'm saying? No, I've said this before. It goes back to the first point. It knock them out if they say a racist joke. You know, go tick for tack with them if you have to in the streets. And do whatever you have to do to shut them down. Run them out of your neighborhoods. Run them out of stores. They can't make their world small as hell.
The way
That's
it
what
used
you
to
have
be.
to do. But it used to be they'd be running everything. They still are, but I mean, openly, proudly, it was just the law of the land was their racist, white supremacist laws. It still is, but I mean, it was even more so in this country. But yeah, but then here's the thing: the media has to do the same thing. You have to not write a wonderful puff piece about the poor wives of the Nazis fighting for their country so heroically. Um, you got to not let you got to not go on stage at Comic Con, Politicon, and debate with Nazis because that gives them a voice on your platform too. If you have millions or billions or thousands of hundreds of thousands of people, subscribers, you're giving them that audience. You got to not, and that goes for all these left wing shows, supposedly Democrat shows, whatever they are. They they always want to debate the Nazis. They want to play the clips of the Nazis and then talk about the clip. You're spreading their message. Why ever have them on there? Why ever
Because
have
it's
their
revenue.
clips on it? Yeah, but I'm just saying it's got to stop all the way around. All the way
Well,
around. We got to shame media outlets to do that. You know, if you have a Nazi on, you Skypes in to debate you. No, your show should be boycotted. You just gave a Nazi a voice. I don't care if you think you trashed him. I guarantee you, his people think he trashed you on the debate. That's how debates generally work, right? So it's just publicity. You're all feeding off each other to make some money, to make revenue, like you just said. But yeah, That can't be acceptable and it can't be tolerated. It's got to be full circle here, man. It's got to be like that, or else it's
Yeah,
gonna
but
just go on forever. It's gonna keep doing what it's doing because they don't do that.
well,
We
that
all,
is
we
the
all, we
ideal.
all, we all got to be John Brown, not Thomas Jefferson. You see?
Yeah, but that's just you're in the wrong game. That's just it. I mean, the playing field is the way it is for a reason. It's not an accident. And the stronger the game gets, the harder it is to start a new game. So, this is the bottom line, especially in the United States. If you're not making money doing it, why are you doing it? That has become the rallying cry. That has become the way of life for far, far too many people. I mean, even my show, I did it for 6 years. I never made a fucking nickel. I finally quit because I couldn't afford it anymore. But I'm still quite happy with the way I did it because I did it the way I wanted to and for the right reasons. And like you said, these so called left leaning shows that bring on the fash, that want to show the fash, talk about the fash, it's only because it makes them money. It generates traffic. They really
Yeah,
don't give a shit about the fundamentals between the different positions. That's not an issue to them. They're just there to make money. That's it.
yeah,
Like this Young Turks and all. Fuck all those guys. Get a
yeah,
real job.
yeah. They were one of the ones I was thinking about specifically saying that. Um,
And there's
we
just
probably,
absolutely no reason for any platform that has built a sizable following to entertain things that they're supposedly diametrically opposed to. There's no reason for it except for revenue. It serves nothing else.
yeah. So anyway, man, it's a whole thing. It's got to stop. Like we keep saying the same thing. White supremacy can't be tolerated in any form, in any fashion, in any area, in any space. You know. So yeah, and that was just trippy how we hit with the media doing the same thing we were just talking about with just standard people. It's everywhere. It's built into the system. It's ingrained in the indoctrination they give you throughout your entire life here in this shithole country.
And this is the absolute definition of what stochastic means.
Yeah,
The whole thing about stochastic terrorism is just basically people in positions of authority or people that are well known just talk shit. They don't specifically say that this person or this organization or this place should be
nowadays.
attacked
Oh, but
or beat
nowadays
down.
they just kind of dox it for their crazy audience.
They just present variables that they insist are what's happening. I mean, this happens with just about everything these days. You can take it down to something like Villanueva, who is obviously a crooked piece of shit and is nothing but a glorified gang leader with a badge. But how does he choose to work against the reality of who he is? Well, look at all these people. You should be looking at them. They're guilty, not me. This thing of deflection, false equivalency, and the dead cat issue has become too easy and too widespread and too accepted. The reason we're seeing regression on so many things is because somewhere the powers that be want it to happen, and there's just not enough organized opposition, or people are bought off, or people are recruited specifically because they are on the wrong side and they're given a platform. You know, I mean, look at people like that little fucking piece of shit, Andy No. Who is this idiot? How did he ever get listened to by anyone? Because he says things that motivate a certain part of the society, and he's
Dude,
rewarded for doing so.
right now I'm really regretting not having that little interface yet because when you said that, Andy, no, who is he? I could have played that. My milkshake brings the boys on the yard song. That
Yeah, and tell us about silicone rods. Yeah.
somebody did a GIF. I retweeted it. It was him looking all milkshaked out. So he had like white stuff all on his face. And they made a little GIF of dildos bouncing off his face.
See, there you go. There's the reality of these events, and somehow this guy is some kind of fucking truth seeking martyr? Like, how does this happen? It's just so ridiculous. It's so non factual. But there are
Yeah,
people who are willing to eat it up because it makes them feel good.
yeah.
Oh, man.
So we gotta end this up pretty soon. But real quick, just I know you don't know yet, and just to whoever, I have a website up, peoplesradiounited.com, but it's really not functional right now. I didn't realize it when I left Spreaker. I mean, I should have realized they get rid of all the shows, so everything's kind of dead. My old Twitter account is on there, the one that got suspended forever. So yeah, I gotta update it. But then here's the problem: the software I used was Adobe Muse. Muse is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Muse.
And
I have the Adobe the whole the CS. You know, I have everything Adobe. They don't have Muse anymore. It's not on the whole list of download software I am able to get, and it's no longer in my system. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. I have Dreamweaver. Maybe if I just redo everything in Dreamweaver. I don't know. That's not everybody's problem here. It's just I'm explaining that the website will be down for a while, or just kind of like half-ass whatever is there until I fix it. I'm just trying to figure this out because I really suck at that kind of stuff. I could do the designs for it, but making it work is a whole nother thing. But yeah. Do you want to save the last topic for next week and just kind of give it to the people who listen to think about?
well, I think there's definitely going to be more development on it, that's for sure.
Okay, so this is what I was saying. If a fetus is now technically considered a full human being, will they get access to all human rights? Will they give the child tax credits 9 months earlier? Will social services and welfare start paying for an extra child 9 months earlier? Can they get a social security number? Um, are they going to count them as an extra person living in a household on the census? Things like that. I mean, you really got to think about stuff like that. You can get paid if you know, pregnant people can get paid a year earlier. They can get their
Yeah.
child tax credits a year earlier.
Yeah, somehow I don't think that's the application they're looking for.
I'm saying you got to work with it, man. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I'm just being sarcastic, but man, it's like it's ridiculous. We need to start off with this next week. That's what we usually do. We get these topics, and then one of them we get stuck on for a while, so we miss one or two at the end. So maybe what we'll start doing is shouting out what we're going to talk about. Maybe this will be the first topic next week. That
All
saves me
right.
on having to think of an extra topic.
Yeah, at least you already got one in the can. That's true.
Yeah, see?
But I mean,
Ugh.
again, still the most accurate thing I've seen was the meme that had the picture from CNN with the five Republican judges on the Supreme Court, and the caption says, "Radical mullahs issue fatwa on abortion." And that's exactly what this is. You know,
Yeah.
all this talk that I've heard my whole life about Jefferson with the separation of church and state and blah 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 blah. Where is it? It doesn't exist today. Period.
It's just a different religion with similar oppressions, just altered, different twist on everything. Just
Religion
as
is
oppressive,
religion.
just as oppressive, just as evil.
Religion is
Um,
religion. Take your fucking belief system and leave it at home where it belongs. You want to
yeah,
govern? Use facts.
yeah.
And you
Facts
know,
and evidence and things that
and
exist.
and like I said last week, you know, Roe v. Wade, the same-sex marriage decision, the interracial marriage decision, they're all based on the foundation of privacy of the individual from the state. And that has now been basically a moot point by the highest court in the land. So, you're a
Dude,
democracy, are you?
it
Bullshit.
would it would be like somebody passing laws to because for endangered species laws on Sasquatch and the chupacabra. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we believe they exist. There's no evidence or proof that anyone's ever seen one, but we're going to write laws to protect them and preserve them so they don't become extinct. That's how ridiculous it is, man. You running stuff on an imaginary myth.
I wish
That's
religion was to the point where it's a fucking Sasquatch.
well, no, what I'm just saying. It's just like it's that ridiculous,
Oh yeah,
and it shouldn't. I mean, I don't know. That would just it does. It raises red flags, and these people start talking about their religion when they're running for office. Like, how is that even relevant, dude?
because
Sebastian Gorka. Did I say this last week about the Sebastian Gorka commercial? He's trying to sell some miracle drug snake oil thing on the right wing radio, and he's like, "It works so great." and, and he says, "I haven't been able to be on my knees in church in years, but now I can."
oh praise Jeebus.
Oh man, he hit all the buzzwords. It was classically funny. And right after that, the right wing radio host came in and started, I don't know who it was. He started talking about Elon Musk provided everyone in Ukraine with internet. So he needs to win a Nobel Peace Prize. And I did tell you this last week because we talked about it. So never mind. I just remembered that. These people are crazy, man.
Yeah, but they're crazy like a fox. This is just it, you know. A fool and his money are soon departed. Keep making more fools. Going to be more money to be had. That's the
Yeah.
bottom line. That's America. Just give me your fucking money. We don't care about anything else in reality. What do I have to say? Okay, yeah, sure. Just give me your money.
Slaves obey your masters. There's the Bible.
Yeah, you may not have to sacrifice your labor, but we'll take your money.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
more
man.
liquid. It's more transferable.
I guess on that note, we should wrap this up. Anything else we missed out on?
No, I'm just glad that the last 40 minutes or so, everything worked right. You know, I don't know. I may have to check if there's an update for the app on my phone or whatever, but Twitter
I don't know.
Spaces, get your shit together.
Yeah. Usually, hopefully, if when I put it on YouTube, they'll work it out on the replay. That's what usually happens. So, I mean, that's probably why I could see what you were saying, even though I couldn't hear some of it. Um,
Yeah, same thing for me for like the first two-thirds of the show. So,
yeah, it's a learning curve. But yeah, like I said, I'm working on the website. I'm putting a bunch of stuff up on YouTube, People's Radio United. If you don't know about Serena Shim, check her out or see who she was, look her up online, read about her, and you'll see some similarities between the current events and that. And that's it. Have a good week. Hopefully, be back next Monday. Thank you, Glenn. And I got to figure out how to end this thing.
You just end it. That's it.
Oh yeah, end. There it is. Yes, end.